Hey everybody, it is Sorsha Renarius. I'm going to give it a minute. Hopefully, guys can see me and hear me. Because of how Facebook updated and reconfigured some things, I cannot see myself. But I can see the comment box. So if you are here, say hello. Well, I'll trust that you guys will hop on when you do. So, yeah, I have been plotting and planning lots of projects and experiments. Um, I've been kind of quiet on Facebook. I haven't been as active as I have been in the past with posting things. I came out here as a magician, as an artist, doing my thing, rocking it, loving it. That's still on. I've been covering the protests as an independent journalist, and I enjoy that. I just can't go out every single night. Um, oh, hello. I see you, Leo. Nice to see a few people. But as the title indicates, adventures in aviation. So a lot of you may not know because mostly I'm here to talk about magic. But I love to fly. I love aviation. And once upon a time, I went to flight school. Yet I don't have my wings and I do not have my pilot's license yet. About 22 years ago, I went to flight school and I made it through ground school. And there were a lot of factors that I wasn't really ready for it. I wasn't dedicated enough to study the material. And ultimately, I did not pass ground school. And I financially could not cover the cost of ground school because it is not cheap. It can be a very expensive hobby and sport. Um, so I set it aside, for other things, other career opportunities. And it's interesting because, with quarantine and everything that's gone on this year, everybody has had oodles of time to just hang out, to just pursue their hobbies and their passions. And I'm no exception. I'm very fortunate because I have my own publishing house. I can offer services. So, my business has not been that impacted by COVID or being laid off because it doesn't really apply to me. Um, I do what I can do and I enjoy being out here. But, you know, when I look back to things that I've been passionate about in the past and maybe set aside for other things, flying has always been one of those things. And it's a human universal thing. Every human, every group of people across the world have been fascinated by the sky, by birds, by the idea of human flight. And we've made a lot of advancements, historically speaking, as a species. And, you know, flight is relatively simple. It's simple and complex, depending on how you want to approach it. Um, I find that it's inspiring to me. It's freeing. It's just exhilarating. And it's something that I want to get back into. So I've been using my time during the lockdown to do things that I want to do. There's a lot of things that I'm passionate about that I'm unable to do, at least not with other people, because a lot of things I like to do, social things are still closed down. So in the meantime, I had to find other things to occupy my time. And it took me back to the airstrip, to the hangars, to just that world that I kind of left behind in favor of so many others. And it's something that I love. It's something that I grew up around. My grandfather was a pilot. My uncle was a pilot, you know. They had a flight school. They had an aerial photography business. So it's something that I grew up around and I enjoyed, you know, hanging out around planes as a kid. Um, so, I let it go and now I'm picking it up again. I think the reason why I didn't pick it up sooner was because I was getting in my own way by through laziness, not learning all of the math and physics that I need to to do it safely. Um, School is expensive. It's not cheap. It might cost 10 to 12 grand to get through flight school. Um, so I always thought that it was cost prohibitive, but there are ways to finance it and ways to do it that make it achievable for even people on a budget. So I just want to encourage people, anybody that's interested in flight, in getting your pilot's license, it's actually more achievable than not. You just have to stick with it. For me, I'm not currently enrolled in flight school yet. I'm still waiting to get, all of my tests and clearances done to be able to enroll formally. But until then, I figured I would use this time wisely to my advantage. I got the books, I got the study materials, so I could at least study, you know, everything I need to study except for getting actual flight hours. However, in the course of my research, I was greatly tickled and delighted to find out about this entire subculture within aviation um, of flying lightweight aircraft. Now, normally to fly an airplane or a helicopter, anything flying in the air, you have to have at least your private pilot's license. Now, once you get your private pilot's license, there are a lot of endorsements that you can get. You can get your, the basic one, you have like a VFR rating, so a visual flight reference, like a visit, tongue tied. I'm excited. Like a visual flight reference type of rating. And then you can get your instrument rating. You can get your commercial license. You can fly big planes and jets or little planes for charter. I don't really know. I just want to leave the door open. Getting my private pilot license will open a lot of doors because I love to fly. It's just, I'm very at home, in the sky. And I think a lot of people dream about flight. They want to fly, they love to fly, they just don't know how to fly. And until we master, like unmanned, we can levitate someday, maybe as a species we evolve. That would be cool and all. But until then, we have airplanes, helicopters, wingsuits, gliders, all kinds of ways to have fun in the sky. Okay. So, in doing my research with the FAA, I found there's a part, and I'll probably drop the links in the comments. Um, there's a part of like the Federal Aviation Regulations, and look it up. It's part 103, and I could not believe it. I had to read it for myself and research it. But you can fly ultralight aircraft without any kind of a license or training, and that's kind of scary because you have to have a license to drive a car on the ground. But they will let people fly around in the air up to about 1,000 feet with no license and training, and that could be bad if everybody just decided to do that. You know, I thought it was too good to be true. But I've been doing my research. I've been talking to other aviators. I've been really researching this heavily. And it's a thing, man. If you want to learn to fly, you can teach yourself to fly. You can seek out advice from other aviators. You can take classes. There's different paths to get in the air. If you want to fly, you can do it. You absolutely can. You just have to do it. You have to commit to it. And it feels good. I feel free making this decision. Yes, flight school is daunting. Yes, I'll get there eventually. But until I get there, I'm still free to fly ultralight aircraft. Well, when you start Googling and YouTubing and looking at ultralight, aircraft, I mean, you can buy kits that you can literally make in your garage for about the cheaper ones about 3,000. I've seen expensive ones where you can literally build a tiny jet for about $40,000. I don't quite have that budget at the moment, but there are a lot of people that then instead of buying a kit and building a pre-made kit, they literally just design their own. Now, to design your own aircraft, of course, you have to have a good understanding of, aerodynamics and physics, and, there's a lot of things involved. It's not an undertaking I would advise for anybody to just do um, without having a solid understanding of some of these things. You're going to have to do your research because it's literally, fly or die, um, fly or fall. So, you know, I'm going into this with eyes wide open. I'm going into this, under the counsel of experienced aviators, both in my family, the ones that are still living, that have piloted before, as well as, local aviators. There's aviation clubs you can join. Um, I'm excited. I'm just, I'm giddy. This is what I've been doing. This is where I've been spending my time. I haven't been on Facebook. I pop in every now and then, but this is something that I just enjoy pursuing. Um, and even though I don't have a functioning airplane in my garage just yet, um, I have decided to go ahead and build one. You know, there's lots of ways to design an airplane. There's even clubs devoted to experimental aircraft where you can like learn to build planes with other aviation enthusiasts. So I'm kind of pursuing all of these ways to be able to build a plane that will, fly and not drop like a rock because, Sorsha does not want to go splat on the pavement. That does not sound like a good day. I plan to fly for years and do it, I don't want to say safely because it's not exactly, by definition, a safe sport, but it's a calculated risk. And if you go into it, well prepared, understanding the rules and regulations that are out there, for the standards of a private pilot license, and then understanding that, well, ultralight aircraft operators don't have to be held to those standards, but it would still behoove you to learn them and get some training before trying to build something in your garage and take off. So that's what I've been up to. I don't have anything built yet. I'm still in the planning stage, so I'm still sketching up drawings and trying to get the weights and measurements and everything correct. And there's a lot of variables. I still don't know quite what the hell I'm doing with all of it, but you know I'm figuring it out as I go. And I know I'm rambling, but I just want to encourage people. You know, if you have something that you've always wanted to do, now is absolutely the time to do it. From a magical perspective, we can, I see people out here, doing awesome magical things, having fun, honing their craft. And, whether it's magical or mundane, you can hone it. And I see, I mean, flight, yes, it's a science, but it's an art, it's a magic as well. And for me, this is also about like a soul alchemy, a personal challenge, because this is something that I walked away from years ago. 20 years ago I walked away from this because, it felt too hard. As much as I wanted it, I didn't want it bad enough to finish it. But now I do. I'm not getting any younger. I'm 41 years old. I want to be able to fly before I'm 80. Okay. And, hey, there's 80-year-old pilots out there still rocking the skies. So it's encouraging. But I've seen so many things. I've seen, young people flying, old people flying. And I've seen people build airplanes in their garages, like from scratch without a kit, and they fly just fine. And yes, I would rather fly in a Cessna or something a little bigger just because it's usually a little bit more airworthy. However, if you're careful, you can build a perfectly good aircraft in your garage with basic tools. You don't need anything incredibly fancy, but you do have to make sure that the materials you work with, particularly like the bolts that hold it together, like they have to be like aircraft approved type of thing. So there's some things that you can get away with, going to Home Depot for some supplies, but other things, you absolutely have to buy them like top of the line, because your safety is important. You know, in doing research, I also have found that there are special parachutes that can attach to the frame of your aircraft. So if you have an air emergency, you can deploy it and hopefully it will let you down rather than like a rock. So, you know, I have a plan. It's just not, completely in motion yet because there's a lot of things that I have to do before I get in the air. But I wanted to invite you guys to share this journey with me. And, I encourage you to, you know, pursue your dreams and passions and, get out of your own damn way and just do it. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're on fire about, you got to find that fire and you got to go for it. And just use this time in society. The world could be going to hell in a handbasket and going down in a fiery dumpster fire, but you can choose, as magicians, as people, we can choose to say, okay, there's a lot of things that we can't control in the world, but I'm going to focus on the things that I can. And I'm going to pursue the things that give me joy. And hey, flying is one of those things that gives me great joy. And that's what I'm going to pursue. I'm going to keep out here rocking it. I'm going to keep out here, offering magical content. But if I'm not as active as I once was, it's probably because I'm tinkering in the barn building an airplane and eventually we'll learn to fly it. So, yeah, I just wanted to hop on and share that because it's something that I'm excited about. And, I miss you guys. I haven't seen a lot of people out here, but I pop on when I can. And I'm going to check the comments. Let's see. I see Michael Williams. Hello. It's good to see you too, man. Infernal blessings to you as well. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. But yes, this is Adventures in Aviation Part 1. And there will probably be many parts as I go along. And when I have something more to show and live stream, I'll get to that part. Eventually, once I have the thing built, and it probably won't be for a while, but once the thing is built, I want to go pro and I want to be able to live stream. But I have to stay in airspace, at least low enough where I can still get a cell reception. But I think it would be pretty badass to live stream some flights. You won't be able to hear me talking over the engines most likely, but I think it would be fun. And I would love to share, this side of myself that, hasn't come out for a long time. And, you know, I want you to get to know me beyond, magical Facebook. So I hope you guys have an awesome evening, and I'll see you later.